Wait, let me take this off. Hey, I can't believe it. Yeah, my brother, he put me up to this. He's amazing. I guess because I'm from Chicago. Maybe that's why. Is this J104? This is J104 English. Yeah, this is Mr. C's really cool, handsome twin brother. Yes. Yeah, I'm the older guy. I came out first, of course. And so I got all the brains and all the good looks. So I just feel so sorry for you that you have him as a teacher. So he wants me. I hear that you're going to be studying about the Mexican history in Chicago. Now this is very interesting. And he gives me this article to read, and I hear that he's given. Oh, by the way, my name is Jimmy C. Jimmy C. Timmy C. Right? Timmy and Jimmy. Yeah, that's how it was our whole growing up. But he's given me this two-page article, and he's given you. I guess he's handed out paragraphs for you to read. And he says that you have to own them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11. And each student has to own a paragraph. And I hear I hear he made a mistake. I hear that he handed out the wrong assignment 2 weeks ago. So you already have half of it done. This is amazing. So this should be pretty easy. So I hear you have to find the nouns in your paragraph. And then you have to look up the words. I hear he let you use your cell phone, your mobile phone, your smartphone to look up the words. Awesome. But he has eyes in the back of his head when it comes to people using phones for the wrong reasons. And then he wants you to, this is probably the most challenging part, to pick out the most important sentence in your paragraph. I don't think most of you got to that. That's what he tells me. And then the last thing is summarize the paragraph in your own words, like one or two sentences that just captures, I'm talking to you, captures the paragraph. Okay, so let me just read it. And on Antonio and Angelica, you have to really pay attention to this. This is Hispanic history. I hear you're gonna be reading Sandra Cisneros' book, The House on Mango Street, which is a great book. It has a series of vignettes that she strings together like a pearl necklace. Yeah. So here's the first paragraph. Antonio and Angelica. Oh, Haven, would you please sit down? I know you like to kind of. Let's just have a seat, okay? Haven, I'm talking to you. Yeah, just Mr. C told me all about you, how you're doing so well this quarter, and all you have to do is just find a seat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so here's the first. It's called the Mexican population in Chicago. Number one, according to the 2010 census, two-thirds of the United States Latino population lives in California, Texas, and Arizona. That makes sense, right? However, the fourth most populous state for Latinos, especially Mexicans, is Illinois, where the grand city called the Windy City, Chicago, is up by the shores of Lake Michigan, right at the top of the northern part of the state. In 1850, did he hand out the article yet? He's the kind of the teacher that might have forgotten to hand out the article. So see if you can get him to hand out the article and see if you can follow along as I read this. In 1850, the Mexican population of Chicago consisted of a mere 50 people. In 1920, the census reported 1,200 Mexicans living in Chicago. Wow. And there was over 1 million by the year 2000. Today, many Mexican Americans living in Chicago can trace their family's history in the city as far back as the turn of the previous century. Now, I think that's 1900. So they can trace it all the way back to the middle 1800s. Paragraph 2, Alejandra and Denise pay close attention particularly, but everybody should be following along. This is what Timmy C. You have to call him Mr. C. I can only call him Timmy C. All right? Don't we look alike? We look so much alike, don't we? But somehow, I just got all the good looks. The period between 1900 and 1925 was full of change for both Mexico and the United States. Mexico was experiencing a time of political unrest and war, so men looking for better wages crossed the American border. In addition, many people found it unsafe to stay in Mexico. So entire families fled the country for the political and religious safety and the freedoms of the United States offered. Paragraph 3, pay attention now, Amy and Haven. Amy and Haven, this is your paragraph. At this time, Chicago's economy was heavily reliant on the railroad, steel, sugar, beet, no, not sugar, comma, beet, but sugar beet. Sugar beet. Can we say it together? One, two, three. Sugar beet. Exactly. And meatpacking industries, but more workers were needed, sometimes to replace employees on strike or men fighting overseas during World War One. Where are I? Here. Business leaders sent representatives to the Southwest to hire newly arrived Mexican immigrants and transport them north. The recruiters called enganchistas. Enganchistas. Can you say that together? Enganchistas. Paid for the new workers' railroad fees and meals on the trip to Chicago with the understanding that the Mexicans' first paychecks would be docked, that means taken from, a percentage until the money was compensated. So they fronted them the money, but then they got it back later. Notice the kind of sunglasses I'm wearing. Yes, you see the kind of sunglasses I'm wearing? What kind of sunglasses am I wearing? Yes, you got it. Classic Chicago Ray-Bans. Yes. Paragraph 4, Isaac. Get ready. Isaac, are you there? There you are. I see you. Okay, good. They had better paying jobs in the United States, but Mexicans still struggled. Many worked 10 or more hours per shift, and their meals consisted of small portions of bread or a watered down stew. Yuck! That's like taking a Costco chicken, taking all the meat off of it, and then boiling it in water and then drinking it. Maybe chewing on a bone as you do it. It's not what you call the greatest kind of cuisine that you'd want to eat. Stew, if they ate anything at all. So they're hungry. Mexican immigrants had difficulty finding reasonably priced housing because many apartment complexes were owned by Europeans who resented the immigrants. Resented immigrants. Therefore, landlords unfairly raised rent prices for Mexicans, which meant many people lived in the same apartment to be able to afford a roof over their heads. So lots of families lived in small apartments. Does this ever happen to you? I mean, I can remember when we were living in a very very small hotel. Actually, it was a motel for like 9 months. Very cramped, very uncomfortable. Let's see. Therefore, landlords raised rent prices for Mexicans, which meant many people lived in the same apartment. I already read that. Sorry. With more people in such small spaces, good health and sanitation was difficult to maintain. Okay, okay. We're now on paragraph 5, and this is Anthony's paragraph. So, Anthony, pay attention. By the early 1920s, American soldiers had returned from war and wanted Mexicans to vacate their jobs in their communities. Now they want them to leave. In Chicago, neighborhoods called colonias, can you say that together? One, two, three. Colonias, or enclaves, were informally established to help keep Mexicans together. Some of those areas included Calumet on the near west side of Chicago, the back of the yards area near the stockyards, and Pilsen on the lower west side. These enclaves gave rise to tortilla factories and restaurants and markets and Spanish language newspapers, like where my brother lives in El Verano and El Caliente. Yes, that's where he lives, man. He loves it there too, by the way. Newspapers like El Ideal, El probably LEDAL, I think, something like that. 1930 census reports 20,000 Mexicans, both immigrants and American citizens, living in Chicago, an increase of 600% in just 10 years. Paragraph 6, almost halfway through. This is for Christian and Bianca. Bianca, Timmy C has told me a lot about you already. You're a new student in the class and you're just doing great work, and he's very excited about your future. And you played a fabulous joke on him, which he's still laughing about. He texted me all about it, had to Skype me about it. It was so hilarious. He almost bought a baby bottle for you and baby clothes for you because he felt so sorry for you and actually happy for you as well. Yeah, you're very clever, very clever. He liked it. It was it was funny. When the Great Depression hit the United States, this is paragraph 6. Mexicans were seen as expendable and understandable, so a nationwide campaign of repatriation began. That doesn't sound right. Repatriation means sending the Mexican population back to Mexico just because we don't need you anymore. Let's keep reading. Mexicans were rounded up and sent back to Mexico, even those who were born in the United States and were American citizens. Those who remained in the country had even a harder time getting jobs and food for their families, and some were hurt or killed because of racial violence. At the end of the campaign, about one-third of the Mexican population in the United States had been forced out. See, it's not the first time this has happened. Deportation, not the first time. Some of your families may be in trouble. You know what? We're doing everything we can to make sure everybody is legal and everybody's working. That's what we want. At the end of the campaign, about one-third of the Mexican population, United States, had been forced out. I just read that. In Chicago, the loss was not as severe, in part because of the involvement of social workers and the work of settlement houses staff who had already been offering assistance to immigrants for decades. So let's stop here, take a break, take a 5-minute break. We'll come back. It's a good idea right now. He talked to me about the last sentences that you have to read. You have to read these last and write the last the questions here. Oh, you can see they're backwards, aren't they? They're backwards. Yeah, you can't see that. So you might want to take just a peruse of it. I think he's gonna parcel out one question per group. I think something like that. That's a good idea. So take a look at that. And come back in about 5 minutes.